Hello, my name is Alison and I'm on the community team at the Heath Business Park and Technical Centre over in Runcorn, and today I want to show you some more positive pebble ideas. Now, why am I doing positive pebbles? Well, I think it's something that's relatively cheap to do. You can find pebbles on your walks. That's what I do with my very patient husband, who says every day that I collect more pebbles. He says, Alison, I'm going to put this on the scales, you know, because I'm sure this is heavier than take on hand luggage. But he's very good. So he carries my pebbles and I carry some too, keep them sweet. And then we bring them back and I scrub them clean because paint doesn't stick very well to soil. And then I start to paint them. Now, today I wanted to show you how to make little owls. Now, for good reason, because I've got a bit of a soft spot for owls, but for good reason. Anyway, I will come to that in a moment. Meanwhile, I will give you some ideas, because I think that's what we can run out of, isn't it? And, you know, you can get ideas off the internet, can't you? This is just to keep you going. So I've got a bit of a thing about, I love dogs, and I think we've got absolutely great dog owners in our country who take their poo bags home. I'd much rather they stick and flick it rather than just leaving plastic bags in the middle. And I know a lot of dog owners are big on that. So this is just 2 coats of white paint with, look, please take poo bags home, with Snoopy on the front. If you can find any that have got 5 points to them, like a hexagon shape, then you might choose to make a little fairy cottage. And you can paint on the back too, but keep it simple. A bit like the back of my hair at the moment. I just hope nobody looks. Right, put those down. Very simple one, look. Thank you, NHS. And they are amazing. Time is priceless, enjoy it. We've all got lots of time. Now this is, I think I showed on a previous video, how when you've got your wet stone, you've got your white stone, always do your 2 coats of paint first, because if not, the colour of the paint isn't strong enough on top. 2 coats of white paint, and either wet your pebble or put wet white paint on top, and then put the other wet coat of paint on top and fade it out, or you can mix 2 colours. And then paint a detail, a little bit of ink pen on top. And I'll shove in fact, I will turn my tray upside down. If you could just see where I'm working, it's ridiculous. My phone is suspended with an elastic band. I am not a blogger. These are nice ideas for children. Oh, I'll come to them. Find joy in life. Trust. Be wise. Stay safe. Here's a simple little ladybird. I've done a more tricky 3D ladybird, but this one is a lovely one for children. And I've put little googly eyes on it as well. Little mouse with my Neil the cat's footprint on top. Not too keen on these eyes. I think I'd rather have painted eyes. He looks a little bit as if somebody's given him too tight a hug and his eyes are popping. How simple is this for an idea? Shingle from your front garden, or, well, maybe a friend's. Anyway, just, again, 2 coats of paint, and you can just do... I can't see what you can see. There we go. Plain colours, or you can shade them from orange to red, or from turquoise to purple, whichever. Okay, let's move that tray, because I've got another one coming in. Oh, this is scratching my kitchen table, but hey ho, I've got Neil's footprints all over it at the moment as well. Right, how about fresh air makes you happy? And if you're not getting out, because I understand that if you can't, but my husband and I go out at dawn, so it's damage limitation. We're seeing as few people as possible, but we're getting that vital fresh air. Love is all you need, and our NHS and toilet roll. Love for workers and NHS. Whoopsie-daisy. Try a new path, and it might not be a new path in the woods, it might be a new fitness routine, or it might be a new eating pattern, a healthy one. Grateful people are the happiest people, so to be grateful is to be happy. Little frog, because I thought it looked like a frog stone with a little fly. Ride the wave of life. Be positive. Dark side, light side. Look on the bright side. Count your blessings. So important. It's much easier to moan than it is to realise how lucky we are. And sometimes you have to count them on your hand. And we've got 10 fingers, so try and get up to 10, and we can. And relax. I think watching the sea is very relaxing. Smile. You'll feel better. Sometimes you have to fake it. If you fake it with your smile, people smile back and you'll feel better. Ninja, hero, superstars for our fab NHS. Focus on the end of the rainbow. We'll get there, folks. Thankful for the bare necessities, because I fancy doing a little bear. Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. We know what really matters in life. Thanks, NHS. That's got a little fine pen outline. And finally, so true, every storm passes, and this one will. So let's make the best of it while we can. I'm just going to scratch my kitchen table again. So let's think about what we'll need. Those pebbles will be put into our local woods tomorrow morning, and then it'll be quite nice for people to find them. There's been some nice feedback, and people feel happy when they find them, and they might move them on, and that's great that I put them in the woods for people to do that. Some people take them, and although that my husband wasn't, he said, well, how can they do that? I said, you know what, John, if they need that pebble, they can have it. They can have it, and if it makes them happy, that's fine. It's all about passing it on. Okay, you will need paints. Now, different shades of blue, different shades of red, because the owl that we are making has brown, and brown is a mixture of red, blue and yellow. And I did a little bit of colour mixing. Here we go. I did a little bit of an experiment. I can't show you because my piece of paper is too big, and if I move my phone it will drop. So I've got different shades of red, different shades of, you can't tell, but I've got different shades of blue. I only have one yellow, and when you mix them, whoops-a-daisy, well caught, get me in the slips, you get different shades of brown. Now basically, don't overthink this. I will get my reds and my blues out of the way. I also use some black and some white, and I've got some brown paints, but that's not fair because you might not have. So I thought I would explain to you that, let's just use, if this is brown, okay? Think about it, that's why your water goes dirty, because you've got all the colours going in it. And by the way, I always have 2 pots of water, one to mostly clean my brush and one to partially clean my brush, and a selection of brushes. And I'm afraid that one's been stood on his head, so he's a bit bent, but you shouldn't stand your brushes in like that, because you wouldn't like to stand on your head, so why do it to your brush? Keep them straight. Okay. If your brown is too purpley, it's because you've got too much of them in. You need a bit more of that, because red and blue make purple. If your brown is too greeny, it's because you've got too much of those. Yellow and blue make green. If your brown is too orangey, you might want an orange brown, but if it is, it's because you've got too much of those, because blue and yellow make orange, red and yellow make orange. So you need a bit of that in. It's not fair. Life isn't fair. Paint isn't fair. He's not as strong as those. So I always add more of the yellow and a little tiny dib of the red, a dib of the blue, and you can always add more. Okay, let's move those out of the way. I've got some paints mixed, and I have got somewhere a pebble, just in case I need them. I've got googly eyes. I'm not planning on doing googly eyes today, but if you wanted to, you could put googly eyes. If that was too fiddly, if you're a little person and you know you've got wibbly wobbly hands yet, because it is hard, well, you could maybe have googly eyes, or you could draw them on cardboard and stick them on later. These aren't forever things, they don't last forever, but so they will get a little bit wrecked, but it's the fun of doing them, it's the fun of giving them. Okay, so with, I don't know why that one's there, let's put that there. There's my pen, I might need that later. Is there anything else I haven't told you about? Yes, kitchen roll. Always have kitchen roll. Okie dokie. Brushes. At any moment, Neil, my cat, will come over and either walk across the camera. I'm hoping he stays asleep at the moment. He's cute, but okay. Imagine you've got your stone painted 2 colours, 2 coats of white, because that works. It covers up really, really well. Then 2 big circles for the owl's eyes. No 2 owls the same, so don't you worry either. And I know I'm going to do that in the centre. Ish. This is only an ish, a start, okay? Little V underneath, and then pair of curtains underneath, like that. And that's it, nice and simple. Okay, we start off with, I'm going to use this brush. Okay, and I want to do the owl's eyes. Now think of the way that feathers grow. So I'm going to flick this out. And I have to say, my hand doesn't normally shake this much, but it does when you're trying to show other people sometimes. Well, I've got a mess on the end of there, haven't I? Now, the reason why we're doing an owl is because on our woodland walk, a friend of ours found an owl and showed us where it was. And I have to say, we looked and we saw where it was, but we haven't been back because it's not fair. Not fair, but to know that there is an owl nesting, and there's a little baby in there too, which we can't go and see because that wouldn't be fair. Don't want to scare it, but there's, in one of the trees, yeah, there's a little, like a Gothic shaped gap, and there's a mother and baby in there. Okay, so I need to concentrate on the painting. That's what's important, Alison. Get a grip. Right. See, because that fur would shoot out, I'm doing it that way round. Because this feathers would go down. I'm almost stippling that on. And you might want to do an owl that's got very clear lines, but I'll do it around the beak, very clear like that. But that I really am daubing this on. I'll take it right down to the bottom, down to there, and then I'll just add a bit of brown. And you can tell I've been talking because I'll use that brown there because he's gone a little bit, there we go, a little bit set. Okay, this is about take number, oh I don't know, number 5, because we've had pigeons, we've had the lawn mowers across the back, we've had Neil stepping across, so I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to put that paint onto there because I think that's better. Okay, a lot of the light colour, let's just add a bit of that in. Don't want it to be that different, that's slightly different, okay. Just make that look a little bit fluffy, and you can do these owls a different way each time. Down the bottom I'll just make it a little bit darker because that's the shade a bit where his little feet are hiding. If I wanted to, I could also add a little bit of white because 1, 2, dry, because I might just want to make that look a little bit more fluffy. Okay, that'll do nicely. Don't overdo it. Don't kill it with love. I do that sometimes. I enjoy doing something so much I don't know when to stop, and I just paint and then I think, oh, I wrecked it now. I'm putting a little bit dark under there only because I know that that's under his eyes. And I don't need to go dark down the side here because his wings are going to be slightly darker anyway. Okay, let's get some. I'll use that colour there. I'll use the darker colour there as the base colour. Let's add a little bit more. Put it to one side, you can always add it. Right. Okay. Might need a little touch of water. In these woods we have been litter picking. We thought it was a good idea. We did mess up a little bit. We started at one end of the woods and we made it through to the far end of the woods, and that's where the worst rubbish was, and we ended up with 3 bin bags full of rubbish, not a bin in sight. So we had to wander back with 3 very, very heavy bags of rubbish. So next time what we'll do is we'll start at that end of the woods and work back towards the bins. That's my advice. I don't know if you can hear a pigeon in the distance, but he's been sitting over my head before on the roof light in the kitchen. This is just the background colour. Nice and fast, speed it up. Now listen, you can do the back as well if you want. And then we need to get some, I'm going to just put a few little darker bits. And there. How they turn out is how they turn out because everyone is different, just as we're all different. Thank goodness. It's a shame, isn't it, when people try and be somebody else? Because if you try and be somebody else, you're always faking it, aren't you? Just be yourself. Okie dokie. Something a bit darker now, and because my paint has dried up, I'll put a little tiny bit of cheat ready mix brown here, but you would be using your red, green, your red and yellow and blue, or you could use green with red because green has got yellow and blue in it. Think about that. Right, let's add some feathers now. And I'm painting them, if you see, the way that they would grow. I'm not just colouring it in. And if I've got a bit of dark on there, that's fine too. Now, because I think he'll have funky hair that sticks up like that. Not hair, sorry, feathers. Apparently you've got, I think I mentioned this before, that your main speech centres are not on the same side as your spatial, I've made a mess up there, as your spatial awareness centre, so it's very difficult to paint and speak, which is why art lessons are the quietest. So it is easier when you're not being videoed. Okay. If you've got a dark one like that, then, I'm hoping you can see this, yes, spread it out. Let's put a dark one down there and up there and there, and then when the paint runs out, you can he's a darker one. I like him. I want some light on this side. Can always come back to it. Shouldn't really, because then you kill it with love, don't you? But, okay, he's fine for now. And then you want the yellow, which has no dry. Yes, that's dried up too. Doesn't matter. We won't be beaten. And I'll use a teeny tiny bit of any red. That's far too much paint. Look at that for the size of the beak. That's ridiculous. I use that for something else. Now see how strong that red is there. Very, very careful. And I all seem to have, I haven't done loads of research on this, but they seem to have a yellowy, orangey. So I'm going to do the whole thing. And actually I quite like big eyes. The eyes really bring it alive. Okay, that'll do. Sometimes you can put a bit more at the top, as if, let me just add a bit more paint there. Put a bit more at the top, as if that's a, I'm doing what I tell myself not to do now. I'm getting to, don't kill it with love. I don't want too much red, you don't want to look like a vampire owl. Not that there is such a thing. Right, and then, a little bit of black, or a lot of black, if you're heavy-handed like me. Always, 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 haven't knocked my phone off. Always, always, always dab it on the side that never go straight to it. And actually, in real life, very, very little is actually black. I'm breaking another rule here. Don't normally paint. I'm going to use a different brush. Don't normally paint two wet colours together, but needs must. And you've got other things to do in your life. So, gosh, it's like painting with an anteater's nose, this. This is, how shaky's my hand? Okay, you can do this. He's bleeding a little bit, but it's okay. Ideally, you would wait a little bit for your orange to dry, so that's bleeding a little bit. So we'll leave that there. But while I'll just put some little claws on there. You could use the brown if you wanted. And I'm going to put little dots on his nose. And when he dries, so he's a darker one, they're quite cute. What I would say is here, I can't do that now because I will mess up. If you put a little tiny dot that side, little tiny dot that side, because the eyeball is round, so that is the light bouncing on the curved surface of the eyeball. So two little dots, one there, and it just, look at the differences. It makes the eye suddenly look, makes the eye pop, as they say on these videos these days. Anyway, I think that's about it. We've been very lucky. We haven't seen Neil. In fact, you know what I could do? I'll just show you him. There he is. Huh. Anyway, I hope, I'm probably shouting into the phone now, I'm so near to it. Have a great time collecting and painting pebbles, and pass on the positivity. Bye for now. Speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye.